But what has really happened here is that we have a president who does not understand governance. Forget his policies for a minute. He doesn't understand how the government functions. And as George Will recently said, he spoke up at for the center I'm the chairman of it, up at the Constitution Center. He talked about the fact that there are the reason why we have certain basic norms, certain basic political norms. They are the thing at which they are the ballast which keeps differing opinions and conflicts floating so that we can deal with them. And he came along and said he's going to break down all the norms. It's like breaking down the norms on a campus where you don't walk by and someone says hello to you, you don't say hello. Well, guess what? If you break down that norm, it becomes not a very friendly place to work off a little bit what John was talking about. There's certain basic norms, and he doesn't understand them, and the ones he understands, he tries to break down. And secondly, this penchant for self-aggrandizement and this penchant for tweeting, this penchant to focus so specifically and internally on what he does or doesn't do, even if he was right about everything, is sending a message to all of you and sending a message to your younger siblings that is just totally inappropriate. We talked about this, John, when you and John Boehner and Barack and I were playing golf last time. And you guys won. But all kidding aside, you know, we saw the beginning of the demise of the nature of the discourse when the Gingrich Revolution started to occur. When on the floor of the United States Senate, a senator would refer to a sitting president as Bubba. When someone, forget Democrat, Republican, when someone would yell at a State of the Union, liar. These are basic norms. There's a reason why we have certain basic social norms. They're the arbiter of how we work together. So the thing that I find the most debilitating about what's going on now is the destruction of these norms, and it's generating chaos. It's generating chaos internally. I don't want to see the Chief of Staff quit. I don't want to see the Secretary of Defense or the Secretary of State quit. I don't want all the people who are in our administration who are still there. They call me all the time. I say, please stay. Please stay. There has to be some competence and normalcy. But again, it's not even about the issues. It's about the norms. I'll conclude by saying, you don't say to a foreign leader, even someone as difficult, dangerous, and against U.S. interests as the president of North Korea, you don't refer to him as a little guy. You don't stand. I was recently with a head of state. John, I've had 14 heads of state contact me to want to see me, to get me to explain what's going on. And no, I'm not being facetious now. This is the deadly earnest. And I'm very careful about making sure I'm not in power. I don't set foreign policy. And I never speak ill of an American president abroad. That's an absolute rule of mine. But I was recently with one prime minister in Europe. I went over to speak at a conference, and he wanted to see me. And so I thought it was a courtesy call, and I thought it was going to last 10 minutes. It lasted 2.5 hours. And at one point, this prime minister said, and did you see what he did? We're sitting on the same side of a conference table, sort of as close as you and I are. And he said, he stood up, he said, he took the president of Montenegro and he shoved him aside, stuck his chest out and his chin, and all I could think of was El Duce. Not a joke. Not a joke. That's what people are thinking. That's what people are thinking. Violating the norms of personal conduct generates more anxiety and fear than any policy prescription that this president has enunciated. Sending his Secretary of State to talk with North Korea and saying he's on a fool's errand. It is absolutely bizarre. This bizarre conduct.